What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on AEW. It is Thursday night, a rare Thursday night AEW video. We got an AEW video on Thursday night because Revolution is on Sunday, the pay-per-view. You can order it on BR Live, Fight TV, International, movie theaters, all your fun stuff. We got Revolution Sunday from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. We got the full squad tonight, man. Cameron Johnson's back tonight. Wesley Williams, we missed you last night. Wes, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing well, man. Excited to talk about Revolution and our predictions for the show on Sunday. I watched Dynamite last night. It was decent show. It wasn't the greatest of go homes, but nevertheless, I'm looking forward to Revolution on Sunday. We got a couple more matches added to that card last night, and so it's great to see everything come together. 7 matches on the card, I see, but I know obviously one of those matches will have a full hour dedicated to it, and that would be the main event, MJF and Bryan Danielson for the world title. Should be a great show on Sunday. I'm very much looking forward to it. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys and talk about our predictions here on the Big Fight Field channel. It's great to be back.
Yes, sir. Cam, what's up, dude?
What is going on, man? What's going on, Joseph? What's going on, Wesley? I got Ring of Honor. I got Ring of Honor on the television. Right now, man. So I got my Ring of Honor on the TV right now, man. AEW Revolution this Sunday, man. The build for this show. It ain't been bad, but it ain't been the greatest in the world, man. But it is an AEW pay-per-view. AEW pay-per-views more often than not are some of the best pay-per-views all year. And this should be no different. Card looks good, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the pay-per-view because AEW always delivers, and I see people on social media, on Twitter after last night's Dynamite. I'm like, oh my god, they had this fatal 4-way match at the pay-per-view Revolution, and they're letting one match ruin the pay-per-view. It's like they're like saying that fatal 4-way match is going to ruin the pay-per-view, which is not true at all. Am I looking forward to that match? I mean, more than likely not, but it's going to end up, in my opinion, it's going to end up being a fun match. You just watch, because the crowd's going to be super into it. They hate both heel tag teams. They love the Acclaimed, and they love Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, but we're going to get to that. We got so many other more matches to talk about on the show. Guys, before we talk about Revolution, if you have not already, be sure to go ahead to check out last night's AEW Dynamite review with myself and Cameron Johnson as we broke down the go-home show for Revolution on Sunday. And also, man, subscribe to the channel. We picked up another sub yesterday. We're now only 3 subscribers away until 500 subscribers on the Big Fight Field channel. Let me tell you, man, I worked hard to get 500 on the Big Fight Field channel. So if we could get 500 by Sunday's pay-per-view, man, that would be friggin' awesome, man. So be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel if you're listening and you're new. I would greatly appreciate that. Fellas, let's get into the pay-per-view. We're going to start it off with the TNT Championship. We got Samoa Joe defending the title against Wardlow. These two guys have been feuding for a very long time. More like ever since November, heading into Full Gear, they had Powerhouse Hobbs in a triple threat match. Joe won, then lost it to Darby Allin. He then won it back, and in the meantime, before he lost it to Darby Allin, he cut off Wardlow's ponytail, which wrote Wardlow off of television for a new week. He comes back. He gives this story how his father had cancer when he was 20 years old, and it was a connection between him and his father. Samoa Joe knew that, and he cut off the connection between him and his father. And now Wardlow wants revenge for what Samoa Joe did. So it's a solid story going into the match. I just don't care about Wardlow the same way I did this time last year. This time last year, Wardlow was one of, if not the hottest wrestlers in the entire world. He was incredibly over. The crowd wanted to see Wardlow, and now AEW, Tony Khan, the booking, kind of killed that vibe, and he's not the same dude that he was this time last year. How they're going to get that same mojo back they had last year, I really don't know. But Wesley, we're going to give it to you first for the first prediction of the night. The TNT Championship, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. Who do you have and why?
Well, it's very interesting because I could really easily see this go either way. The TNT title has been, hot potato quite a bit in recent memory. Obviously, Darby had won it from Samoa Joe, and then Samoa Joe won it back just a few weeks later against Darby Allin. And now you have Wardlow coming back here and in this feud with Samoa Joe. I do appreciate within this feud that they've added a personal anecdote to the feud with Wardlow saying he grew out his hair and everything to honor his father, and Samoa Joe took that away from him. I love that they added that to the story because it added another layer to the TNT title match, which I really feel like it desperately needed, because I feel like if you didn't have that, there really wouldn't be much to care for going into this. So when it comes to who wins Sunday, I mean, I really feel like it could honestly go either way. I mean, I would honestly like to see Joe retain, because it would just be nice to just have a bit of a lengthy TNT title reign. But granted, last night we had the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and Powerhouse Hobbs came out the victor of that match. And so now he gets a shot at the TNT title on the Wednesday following Revolution next week. So now you have to ask the question too: is Hobbs going to win the title? I mean, I feel like all signs point to he should, because otherwise, what are you really doing with Hobbs? Because I mean, I don't think you can push him for the world title picture right now. And I mean, you do have like the All Atlantic title and everything, but I feel like Hobbs being in the TNT title picture just looks right. And I just feel like you had that big ladder match. I just feel like it'd be kind of a wasted opportunity with Hobbs. So you got to think about that factor as well going into next week's show. So it's a lot of different variables going on with this. But then you have Samoa Joe, who's still the Ring of Honor television champion. Ring of Honor now officially has their own weekly show now on Honor Club. And if Joe's still a Ring of Honor champion, it's a great possibility they're going to want to focus on him on the Ring of Honor show going forward, and maybe have him play more of a role on that show rather than AEW Dynamite or Rampage. We'll still probably see him around in AEW, obviously, but I feel like he'll probably play more of a vital role on Ring of Honor television if he's still holding one of their titles. So I think if I had to pick a winner in this, I think I'll just go ahead and choose Wardlow to win the title back. I just feel like with the whole thing with Joe still being a Ring of Honor champion and Ring of Honor having their own show now, and they probably want to focus more on Joe being champion over there. With Wardlow and everything coming back, and so Powerhouse Hobbs also is still a heel as well. So I feel like you should have that face versus heel dynamic going into the Wednesday following Revolution. So I feel like Wardlow versus Hobbs just makes more sense as a TNT title match. But it does pain me to say that, though, at the same time, because that would mean another flip-flop of the TNT title, which I've been getting sick and tired of, because the TNT title should have lengthier reigns besides these 3 weeks to a month reigns that we've had. And Joe, I think he's only held it for about 2-3 weeks maybe at this point. But I'm gonna go ahead and choose Wardlow. I feel like it makes more logical sense for him to win and face Hobbs going into Wednesday. So.
Cam, Samoa Joe or Wardlow?
I'm going with Wardlow here, just because the story. I'm going with Wardlow here just because the story. The story should pay off with the story should pay off with a Wardlow win. After all the hell Samoa Joe has put Wardlow through, the happy ending to the story is a Wardlow one. So I'm going with Wardlow here. Samoa Joe being the Ring of Honor champion, being the Ring of Honor television champion. I think personally, I think Samoa Joe has more value in Ring of Honor than he does on AEW television. Not to say I don't like seeing Joe on AEW television, because I'm absolutely loving the King of Television stick that he's doing. I'm going to be very, very sad when he doesn't have the TNT title anymore and he's not around in his suit calling himself King of Television. I am going to miss that very, very much. But I think he has more. But I think he does have more impact. But I think he has more impact. And I think he's more valuable to Ring of Honor, helping get that brand off. Helping get that brand restarted, helping get that brand off the ground again. So I think Wardlow wins. And in terms of Will Hobbs winning next week, I know people don't want to do it because it would be another flip flop of the TNT title. I've been one of the main people saying stop flip flopping the damn title. But I would be okay with it if the plan is to build Wardlow up for a match with MJF at Double or Nothing for the AEW title. That is the only way I would be okay. That is the only way I would be okay with it. If you take the championship, if you get the championship on Wardlow for the happy ending, put it on Powerhouse Hobbs, who desperately needs it. Will Hobbs needs something right now. I think the TNT title could help Will Hobbs out a lot. I think you build Wardlow up for a match with MJF at Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing MJF has a lot of he has a lot of possible challengers coming up at Double or Nothing. He'll have Hangman Page, which we'll get to in a little bit. He'll have Adam Cole, and I think Wardlow could be one of those names. I think Wardlow could be one of those names. But I think Wardlow needs to win the TNT title here. So I'm going with my man Wardlow to win the TNT title.
All right, we're clean sweeping on this one because I'm also taking Wardlow to win the championship. I think Samoa Joe's on his way to Ring of Honor. I think Samoa Joe brings more to Ring of Honor than he does onto AEW. So I think he's going to be more beneficial to the Ring of Honor brand. As for someone who was at the tapings, he was on a lot of the shows this past weekend for Ring of Honor. But yeah, I'm going to take Wardlow to win the TNT championship. However, people do say that there's a lot of flip-flopping when it comes to the TNT championship, which is true. But right now, I mean, I think the match on Sunday will be fine. I think Samoa Joe and Wardlow are going to go in there and have a good match. Wardlow's going to win. For me, it's all about Powerhouse Hobbs and Wednesday next week. I think right now is Powerhouse's time. If you don't put the title on him now, when are you ever going to put the title on Powerhouse Hobbs? You have to capitalize on it right now on someone who's hot. I know he just came back, but that was a huge momentum win for Powerhouse Hobbs. Now he has momentum going into that TNT title match. Wardlow, I don't know how people still feel about Wardlow. I don't know how people are going to feel about him winning the TNT championship against Samoa Joe. But next Wednesday, after Wednesday, you got to have a lengthy reign with Powerhouse Hobbs. You have to have the reign go at least 5 months, in my opinion. So for that to happen and a good babyface heel dynamic on Wednesday, I'm taking Wardlow to win the TNT championship. I think it's kind of a tough call, but I think it points more to Wardlow winning the TNT championship. We're going to move on to our second match. We have Chris Jericho going up against Ricky Starks with the Jericho Appreciation Society banned from ringside. It was everybody banned from ringside, but now only the Jericho Appreciation Society is banned from ringside. So, and last night we got Jericho, Jake Hager, and Daniel Garcia taking out Ricky Starks, and Jericho standing tall right before the pay-per-view. So, Wrestling 101 says Ricky Starks is going to win this match, right? I don't think so. I think Jericho feuds last really long, and I know Jericho loves putting people over, but every feud Chris Jericho's in is at least a 6-month feud. So I don't think this is over after the pay-per-view. I don't know how, it was the feud started off hot. Ricky Starks gets interrupted by Jericho after he loses his championship match. Ricky Starks defeats Jericho in the first match for AEW in 2023. But then the feud kind of died off after that. Hopefully they pick it up, but I don't think it's over. I think that Chris Jericho is going to win, and it's going to be a cheap win because he's either going to be getting help from Action Andretti, who's joining the Jericho Appreciation Society, or he did trade. I hate bringing this up. He just trademarked Jericho. So Paul White.
God.
So does Paul White maybe help Jericho win? I hope not, but it's either going to be Action Andretti or Paul White helping Jericho defeat Ricky Starks, and I'm taking Chris Jericho to win the match. So, Wes, are you on my side, or what are you taking?
Well,
here?
I will say this: please don't will Big Show joining JAS into existence, please, for the love of God. If I see Paul White come out on Sunday to help Jericho win, I'm going to be really pissed. I'm gonna be real pissed off. I mean, what the fuck? Paul White I don't know what the fuck he's doing in AEW now. Really, I guess he's still commentating Dark, but leave him doing that, please. He does a fine job there. We don't.
Tony Khan signed him to keep him away from the Fed. That's what happened. Tony Khan signed him to say, "Fuck you, Vince. Keep him away from the Fed." That's what happened. That's what happened.
He can keep the commentator job in AEW if it gives him something to do, at least. But for the love of God, do not put him in JAS. Okay, you're trying to make that faction look even worse. So, but I will have to disagree with you though. The result, Joseph. I do think Ricky's winning. I also feel like too on the go home last night with Jericho and company standing tall above Ricky Starks. I kind of feel like, you know, I know it's not always the case, but it is typically the case whenever like the heel stands above the babyface before the pay-per-view on the go home. The babyface ends up winning at the pay-per-view. And not in every single case, but in most cases it's that way. So I feel like Ricky gets the win. I could see the feud still going further after the pay-per-view, but I don't know what they do really after this though. I'm not really sure. Hopefully they have something good prepared, but I really enjoyed the back and forth promo those two had when Jericho agreed to the match at Revolution. I thought it was a great back and forth between both of them. And I think Ricky is going to get the win here though. I think it'll kind of show, you know, Jericho's vulnerability and kind of show that like maybe he does need JAS to help him win his battles now, you know, because Jericho, obviously they were pushing the whole storyline of Jericho going on a bit of a losing streak and looking really bad, and how he can't seem to, you know, get wins over guys. And so I feel like they're going to try to play into that a little bit more on Sunday. But I'm going with Ricky Starks to win. What they do afterwards, I don't know. I don't see Andretti turning either. I mean, that's a positive. That's definitely a better possibility than Big Show showing up. I'll tell you that. But I don't think I see actually Andretti turning on Ricky Starks. I think Ricky gets the win on Sunday. So,
Cam,
asking me what I think is going to happen versus what I want to see happen. What I want to see happen is Ricky Starks goes to the Revolution. He beats Chris Jericho's ass. He wins him 1, 2, 3. I think Ricky Starks moves on to something else. And Chris Jericho moves on to something else. That's what I want to see. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. First of all, I'm sick to death of these Chris Jericho feuds that last 6, 7, 8, 9 months. I'm sick of them. I don't know about you guys, but like after like that first match, it gets to a point with the feud where like I'm tired of it. You know, it gets to a point with the feud where like I'm tired of it, and they just decrease in quality. You know, and they just decrease in quality. The MJF feud decreased in quality after the blood and guts match. The Eddie Kingston feud, the Eddie Kingston feud decreased in quality. You know, the Eddie Kingston feud decreased in quality. They had the blood and guts match. That should have been it. JS and BCC went on for fucking ever. My God. So I'm tired of these Jericho feuds that last all damn day. You know, that lasts all year long. But I think it's going to happen because I'm with Joseph. I think either Big Show got the bid, or I think Action Andretti is going to get involved because it starts this match here. That's what I think is going to happen here. And that's what I think is going to happen here. I don't need to see another Big Show heel turn. I'm so over these Big Show babyface heel turns. I like Big Show. Look, that's no disrespect to Big Show. I like Big Show. Big Show is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best big men. He's one of the best big men in the history of wrestling. Big Show does not get enough credit, and Big Show does not get enough credit, in my opinion, for the matches and all the segments that he had that were very shit that were written for. But Big Show is so talented. He was able to make a lot of that shit work. I like Big Show. I like Paul White. I don't need to see a Big Show heel turn. Leave that shit at home. Leave that shit at the crib. And tell Action Andretti to stay at home too. Don't even fly him out. Get Action Andretti on the flight. Fly him out. Fly him back wherever the hell he's from. I don't need to see it. Ricky Starks needs to win this match here. I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm going with Jericho, unfortunately.
Dang. So Seems like this feud's continuing after Revolution, going into Double or Nothing. So we'll see what happens, but I think hopefully it'll be a good match. We got a triple threat for the AEW Women's Championship. We have Saraya versus Ruby Soho versus Jamie Hayter. Cam, you can start us off with this one.
Hunter retains the AEW Women's Championship. How does I think? First off, Saraya needs to ring her A game here. Saraya needs to be on her shit here. Saraya in AEW has been, I think, has been just a massive disappointment. I think she has been a positive in some ways, and some of the ways that I think she's been a positive in it is that you can see that the women are clearly getting more of a focus on AEW television. They're no, a lot of times, most weeks, they're no longer in the death spot. They're no longer in the death spot on the show. Instead of them going on at the 9:20 portion of the hour, they're going on. They're usually the second, third match on the show. So I do like that. I think Saraya has been a positive form in that sense. But other than that, I think she's been a massive disappointment. I think she's been a massive disappointment, and I'm trying to go easy on, and I'm gonna go easy on her because I know she hasn't wrestled. I know she hasn't wrestled in a long time. She has a back. I know she hasn't wrestled in a long time. So she's trying to take it easy. So she's trying to take it easy. So she's trying to take it easy. I need to see Britt Baker. No, not Britt Baker. I need to see Saraya do some shit in this match. She needs to show out. But I think Jamie Hayter retains the women's championship here. And what I hope happens here is I don't, because I've been vocal about it. I hope this match isn't a catalyst for Ruby Soho to join to turn heel and join Saraya and Toni Storm. I've been vocal about the fact that I don't want to see Ruby Soho do that. I like Ruby Soho being a lone wolf, in the storyline where Ruby Soho is like, fuck y'all. It's like, fuck y'all and fuck y'all. I just want the championship. I like that. So I would keep Ruby Soho the way she is. But Jamie Hayter retains the AEW Women's Championship. That is my pick.
Yeah, there's actually some really hard matches. There's actually some matches that are pretty hard to predict. This is not one of them. Jamie Hayter's the only acceptable outcome in this match. She's retaining the Women's Championship. I feel like this match was originally supposed to be Jamie Hayter versus Saraya, but then they've seen how rusty Saraya has been in the ring. She was rusty in her first match. Fine. She was rusty in her second match. Pass. But when she's in the ring, she has been extremely rusty, and they need someone else in there with Jamie Hayter to carry the match. So they added Ruby Soho in there, and now they have this storyline, and they've dragged it out for weeks. Which side is Ruby Soho going to pick? She needs to pick a side at the pay-per-view, because if she doesn't, I'm not going to care. This had potential going into it, but, I'm still keeping a little bit of investment into it, but they got to do it sooner rather than later. And I think she's got to pick a side, at least at the pay-per-view, or at worst, Dynamite next Wednesday. But they added Ruby Soho in this match to help carry the match with Jamie Hayter against the rusty Saraya. And Tony Khan has invested way too much money in Saraya, so he's going to protect her in this match. Ruby Soho is going to take the pin, and Jamie Hayter is going to retain the AEW Women's Championship. That's what's going to happen. Wes, is this a clean sweep?
Yeah, clean sweep. Jamie Hayter retains. I'm happy for Ruby Soho, at least. I'm happy she's getting an opportunity at pay-per-view. She was really floating around the sea of nothing for forever, and so I'm happy to see they finally, gave her an opportunity here to be added to this match and help carry the match, and that they're able to they trust her enough to carry this match with Saraya, not being kind of, super, super crisp in the ring or anything. But yeah, I think this will be good though. I think the build to it hasn't been too bad. I did see something the other day about how Britt Baker was I think talking in an interview how she's kind of become a side character right now, and it's which I mean is not so much a bad thing because Britt Baker was in the spotlight for forever, and even when she didn't have the women's title, she was in the spotlight. So it's probably good that they've kind of had her be a bit more of a background character in this. But yeah, it is kind of weird though, seeing Britt Baker come out and not cut promos and stuff. She's kind of just been coming out and been a manager or been like a ringside or like just wrestling or whatever. But I love that the focus though is on Jamie Hayter as women's champion, because that's how it should be. The focus should be on Jamie Hayter and not Jamie Hayter's second in command or whatever with Britt Baker. But yeah, Jamie retains here. And when it comes to Ruby Soho, what's this side she picks? I'm with you, Cam. I would rather not her turn heel and join up with the other ex WWE women and Toni Storm and Saraya, because it seems like they're kind of just playing into this whole like it's kind of a WWE versus AEW thing again, like kind of like with Jericho forming the JAS, and it's like sports entertainers versus pro wrestlers. So it's like it kind of gives off vibes of that. And from the beginning, I just haven't been crazy about Toni Storm and Saraya being heels. I just feel like when they did it, it felt forced. It felt like it took a weird left turn, because we all thought going in with like when Shida was involved too, that Shida was going to turn heel, and that could have been interesting. But instead, they turned Toni and Saraya heel out of nowhere, and it just kind of felt. It still feels a bit off to me. Like whenever I see them on screen, I still feel like that odd feeling of like I don't know if I buy them as heels. It's just kind of weird. And then I don't know what the whole spray paint thing is. I don't know.
Shit is awful.
I don't know what the fuck
that.
y'all could not explain. I mean, like it's like they're trying to be NWO, but like it's way less cool.
It's so cringe.
It's way like oh my gosh, especially that segment with Leva Bates. That shit sucked. Oh my gosh, like they like barely pushed her down, and then she's like Leva Bates on the ground, like barely whining, like I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like what is it? What was the point of that segment? Like I was so confused. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird too with Saraya, how like when she first came in AEW, she brought the whole like locker room, or at least most of the AEW women's locker room out. And she's like, I want to work with all these talented women. These women rule. And all of a sudden, she's like, fuck these women. She's like, you see, like, fuck them. And it was like all of a sudden she'd had a change of heart in like a week. But like, but it is.
I feel bad for Toni, because you could tell she thrives way more at being a babyface than she does being a heel. You could tell by her body language when she comes out for her entrances. Like, man, I don't feel as comfortable being the bad person instead of being the face. You could just tell. I feel bad for her, man.
And it was like that in NXT too, because remember when Toni was like heel in NXT and it wasn't really working then? Like it just Toni Storm should just not be a heel. Like
she's a natural babyface.
He's a natural, but you're right. You just need a booker as a face. But for whatever reason, Tony Khan thought, hey, let's turn them both heel to, I guess, swerve the fans in a way. But yeah. Anyway, though, Jamie Hayter retains. I got another clean sweep here. Jamie Hayter will go on and continue to be AEW Women's Champion. When it comes to Ruby Soho, I don't know. I don't really care that much. It would be nice for Ruby to just kind of still stand her own ground in a way and her not go heel, but we'll see what happens.
We got a no-holds-barred match added last night on AEW Dynamite after a very good segment between Christian Cage in the ring. Then they played a vignette of Jungle Boy in a graveyard digging a hole with a tombstone that said Christian Cage on it. We thought maybe could Tony Khan be doing a Buried Alive match in 2023, which, all honesty, would be very fucking cool, but they're doing a no-holds-barred match instead. Wes, how excited are you for this match? Who do you have winning and why?
Well, I will say this. I've definitely loved the promos that Christian has cut, man. Christian is such a natural promo. Like, whenever this dude talks on the mic, like, he's one of those guys you listen to, Christian is such a natural when he's on the microphone, man. I mean, he's always been severely underrated. A guy that should have always had a world title push, like in any company. And obviously, he had his run in TNA and they gave him that in TNA and everything. But I like that they picked this feud back up. It's great to see Christian back and wrestling again. And I know the question also is still surrounding everybody. Like, will Luchasaurus show up on Sunday? Because Luchasaurus has not been seen since the steel cage match at Full Gear between himself and Lone Jungle Boy. So we got that variable to kind of think about added into this feud. I was a bit surprised as well they didn't announce this as a Buried Alive match, considering that Jungle Boy was digging a grave. I kind of figured as well we're getting the first ever AEW Buried Alive match, which would have been pretty sick. But it's probably best though that it kind of is kept as like a special thing for like when the Undertaker does it, because it's like it always fit into his gimmick, and so
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be definitely a brawl. These two guys, I think they honestly, I feel like Jungle Boy's definitely gonna come out in like street clothes. I don't even think he's gonna come out in his usual like ring gear. I think he's gonna come out just like tank top, jeans, and just is gonna be ready to just pound the shit out of Christian. So I'm definitely here for that. I think these two guys are gonna absolutely kill it. And I've enjoyed this I've enjoyed the build for this. And as far as a winner goes for this, I'm going with Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy ultimately is the one who has to go over here. Obviously, he's getting a big singles push, and they're wanting to push him higher up on the card. He was in the tag title picture for so long, and now he's on his own. They're wanting to push him. And where Luchasaurus fits into this, I'm not sure. I can imagine we see him on Sunday, or maybe we just don't. I mean, but I feel like Luchasaurus has to. I feel like we kind of have to still see him at some point, though, because I feel like him coming back and just not being involved in any way would just be weird. So I feel like we could very well see an appearance from him on Sunday. So I'm not ruling it out. But as far as the winner goes, I'm still going with Jungle Boy to overcome Christian.
Cam?
Jungle Boy gets the win. Jungle Boy gets the win here against Christian Cage. And I think Jungle Boy wins with the Concerto. I think he wins with the Concerto. You remember a couple weeks ago on Dynamite, Jungle Boy went to give Christian the Concerto. He kind of hesitated. He kind of hesitated. I don't think we see any hesitation from Jungle Boy at the pay-per-view. I think Jungle Boy wins, and I think he wins with the Concerto. I think he wins with the Concerto to Christian, and Jungle Boy is gonna get the win, and then we move Jungle Boy to something else. I don't know what, but we move him on to something else.
Yeah, I'm not taking Jungle Boy. I'm taking Jack Perry because he's Jack Perry now. So, yeah, very clever. I know. You guys are calling him Jungle Boy. Even he said himself, I've moved on from Jungle Boy, but people still call him Jungle Boy.
That name Jungle Boy. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for people to call him Jack Perry. He's been Jungle Boy for so long. That's gonna get some getting used to.
Right.
No, but in all realistic, this has to be over at the pay-per-view. I feel like Cam said it best last week, not this past week, but last week. He hesitated with the Concerto on the Christian Cage. I don't think he's going to hesitate at the pay-per-view. That's exactly how he's going to beat Christian. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a brawl. They're probably going to fight all over the arena. I expect blood. I expect blood in all three stipulation matches, by the way. Just getting it in your heads. We're going to have blood in 3 different matches on this pay-per-view. So get ready. I do think there's going to be blood in this match. I don't know if Luchasaurus shows up in this match or not. I would prefer Jungle Boy beating Christian clean and moving on to something else. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see AEW creative rush Jungle Boy into the title picture, because more than likely, if Powerhouse Hobbs wins the TNT title, I don't want him to be dropping the title in 2 months. That's not a long enough reign for Powerhouse Hobbs. Wait until All Out for Jungle Boy's big moment, winning the TNT Championship. So I'm taking Jungle Boy. But I also got to bring this up. I got a suggestion. It's not a prediction, but I just saw a suggestion on Twitter. What if Christian wins? And Jungle Boy's been talking for a month now that he's wanting to chase a singles championship. What if Christian gets a singles championship before Jungle Boy, just to say F you, you're not going to get your singles championship, I am. Let's say Christian defeats Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship. Jungle Boy goes on to win the All-Atlantic Championship at All Out or something like that from Christian. Is that creative, and is that something you could see happen? I don't think it's going to happen, but
I like that. I could see that. I think that All-Atlantic Championships got the Cactus name written all over it whenever they done, whenever Orange Cassidy is done playing games with it. But I wouldn't be opposed to that idea.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw it on Twitter. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but we're all going with Jungle Boy to defeat Christian Cage and end this rivalry once and for all. Fatal 4-Way for the AEW Tag Team Championships. We have the Ass Boys, the Guns, defending against Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Now, this match is getting a lot of heat for the wrong reasons. Is this a match that I predicted that is this a match that anybody predicted that this would be the match for the AEW tag team titles on pay-per-view? Probably not. I'm thinking they would build to a tag team match between the Acclaimed and the Guns, which honestly, I would have had no problem with that whatsoever. But they decided to add 2 more tag teams to the mix with Jarrett and Lethal, Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen, which Lethal and Jarrett and the Best Friends have been feuding with each other for quite a while now. So you have 2 feuds into one match. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are not going to win. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are not going to win. And I think the payoff, I think people are going to be upset, man. I think Daddy Ass is turning on the Acclaimed and helping his sons win and retain the AEW Tag Team Championships. Billy Gunn is going to be back with the Guns. I don't think the Acclaimed need to be the tag team champions anytime soon. They're bulletproof. They're good. They're still incredibly over. One of the most over acts in AEW. And I think the Ass Boys are going to retain the tag team titles. Wes, who do you have and why?
I'm also going with the Guns to retain. I think I think one of the other 2 teams, it's not going to be the Acclaimed. I feel like Jarrett and Lethal, like one of them, I feel like is going to take the pin in this probably. I do prefer. I would have preferred it if they did just keep it as the Guns versus the Acclaimed. I feel like they made it a bit more convoluted by doing 2 tag team battle royals and adding one team that really shouldn't be there. And not my honest opinion in Lethal and Jarrett, but I'm assuming they're giving it to them because it's more of just a consolation to Jeff Jarrett and his father unfortunately passing away, and Jerry Jarrett as well. And so I can have a bit more of an understanding because of that, but I still would have preferred to just have another tag team in here. And then Danhausen and Orange Cassidy was just a thrown together tag team at the last. I love both guys, but they were a last minute thrown together tag team that just they wanted to put both of them on pay-per-view, so this is their way of doing it. Will the match be bad? I don't think the match will be bad. You got guys in there that are going to get a reaction out of the crowd, and like whether it be good or bad. I mean, people are going to be making a lot of noise for this match. You got the Guns who got the Ass Boy chance. You got Orange Cassidy and Danhausen who are both super over, and you got the Acclaimed who are super over, and you got Jarrett and Lethal who people are just going to boo the shit out of. So that you got a lot of different variables in this. I think it will overall be a good match. But I don't see the Guns dropping the tag titles. I think they're going to retain. And hopefully after this, we see the Guns put into some high-profile feuds, and we see the tag titles kind of put back on that upper echelon again that they were once on. It feels like the tag titles have fallen off a little bit ever since the Guns did take the titles, and people have been kind of souring on the tag titles and how they're being booked right now, and I can understand that in a way, but I'm hoping that AEW and Tony Khan kind of help turn things around, and hopefully this match on Sunday should deliver. And afterwards, we'll see what goes on. I also see Billy Gunn turning on the Acclaimed and joining back up with his sons, and he manages them going forward as the tag team champions. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going with the Guns to retain.
Cam.
Remember the tag team match at Revolution last year? You had the Young Bucks, you had Red Dragon, and you had Jurassic Express. God dang. You remember the tag team match at Revolution in 2020? One of the best tag team matches of all time. I think the best match in AEW history. I think the best match in AEW history. Hangman and Omega against the Young Bucks. Now we got this. Oh, we got this. That's funny. See, play the four-way match on Rampage tomorrow. No, it's better than the match we're getting on pay-per-view. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. I don't have an issue with the 4 teams in this match. I don't. First off, I like Jeff Jarrett. First off, I like Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I do. Condolences to Jerry Jarrett, the second greatest promoter in the history of American wrestling. And Jeff Jarrett is the best bag getter in all of wrestling. He's the best bag getter in all of wrestling. That is undisputed, right? That is undisputed right there. So I like Jeff Jarrett. I like Jay Lethal. I like Danhausen and I like Orange Cassidy. Problem with this is, one, I don't think this team should have been the team on pay-per-view, to be quite honest with you. I think they missed an opportunity to get Sting and Darby on the show. To get Sting and Darby on the show by putting Sting and Darby in this match here, or Aussie Open. I think Aussie Open being in this match here would have been a much better choice. Quite frankly. But just going off the teams here, it pains me to say it because y'all know I'm not a fan of this team. But I think the Ass Boys are retaining the tag team titles. The Ass Boys retain the tag team titles, unfortunately. But I don't know what FTR doing. They need to come back. Ass Boys can drop the titles to either FTR or Sting and Darby. That's just my opinion. But the Ass Boys are going to retain their titles here, unfortunately.
Yep. I hope FTR comes back because, it would be a detrimental loss if they don't. But I think if they do come back, they're easily the top choice to take off the tag team titles against the Guns. But I think the crowd's going to be really into this match, like Wesley said. It's not going to be the crowd's bathroom break like a lot of people said. There's a lot of people out there who love the comedy wrestling, and they love guys like Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. And they hate Jeff Jarrett, so they're going to boo the shit out of him the entire match. So, I don't know. Should be a fun match, but we're all in agreement that the Guns are going to retain. Texas Death Match. I'm very, very excited to watch this match. Outside of the Iron Man match with MJF and Bryan Danielson, this is the match that I am looking forward to the most outside the Iron Man match. These guys are going to kill each other. Jon Moxley and Hangman Page. Cam, I'm going to give you this match first. Moxley or Hangman?
I think Hangman gets the win here. First off, I think this feud has been excellent. I think this has been a really well-done feud here. The promos between these two men have been great. And shout out to my man, Evil Uno. Shout out to my man, Evil Uno. He got his first Dynamite. I think it was his first Dynamite main event a couple weeks ago, and I thought he killed it. He played his role perfectly. He got in there. He got his ass whooped like a pro. He went in there. He got his ass whooped like a pro. So shout out to my man, Evil Uno. I think this feud has been great. But I think Hangman Page gets the winner. I think Hangman Page wins here because I think there's more appeal I think Hangman Page wins here because if Hangman Page wins here, that could possibly set him up for a match at Double or Nothing. Again, MJF has a lot of possible challengers coming up for Double or Nothing. You have Adam Cole. You have Adam Cole. You have Adam Cole. You could have Wardlow possibly. You could possibly have Hangman Page. I think Hangman Page is going to go on the challenge for the title. He needs to beat Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's bulletproof at this point. Jon Moxley's bulletproof in his AEW career. We all know he is the ace of that company. He's basically the face of AEW. He's basically the face of AEW. But I think Heyman gets the win here as he should. And I think this furthers the madness of Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's been going further and further and further into madness over recent months. Over recent weeks and recent months. And I think this continues Moxley's descent into more madness. I think we're going to get a heel BCC club, a heel BCC coming up soon. So I think Moxley's getting the win.
I think it's pretty much a guarantee that the Blackpool Combat Club is going to be going heel.
Hold on, Joseph. Not Moxley. I meant Hangman. I just realized I said Moxley's one. My bad. I think Hangman's getting one. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Okay, so you're taking Hangman then. Okay. So yeah, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that Blackpool Combat Club are going heel. They were acting very heelish all weekend long at the Ring of Honor tapings, both Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, and I think Jon Moxley is going to follow and be a full-blown heel with those guys. And I think it's going to set him off when he loses his match because this is kind of his environment. A match like a Texas Death Match is Jon Moxley's environment, and I think the right way to go is with Hangman Page winning, hopefully maybe get that respect for Jon Moxley after he beats him in his own match. And I feel like with this is probably the next biggest main event program AEW has besides MJF and Bryan Danielson. So I think whoever is the victor out of this match should realistically challenge for the world championship at the next pay-per-view. And I think Hangman Page versus MJF, spoiler alert, I mean, it's pretty obvious he's going to retain. But I think Hangman Page getting the shot at the world championship at Double or Nothing is the way to go. You could tell that story how 4 years ago it was Hangman Page standing in the ring with the legendary Bret Hart to present the AEW World Championship, and the moment was ruined by MJF, and it was those two who was last in the Battle Royal to challenge for the World Championship at All Out 2019. So I think that's the way to go. I think this is going to be an absolute war. I cannot wait. They're probably going to beat the shit out of each other for like 25 minutes. There's going to be blood everywhere. I can't wait for this match. And I'm very excited to see how they cap off what was a great feud between Jon Moxley and Hangman Page. I'm taking Hangman Page. Wes, do we have the clean sweep?
We did. I as well am taking Hangman Page. One thing's for sure, this matchup will be bloody. I don't think there's no doubts about that there. If Jon Moxley's involved, there's going to be blood. So this will definitely be a bloody war between these two guys. And yeah, I also have Hangman going over here, and I'm with you guys as well. I definitely can see a heel BCC coming out of this as well. I could see Moxley, Yuta, and Claudio all going heel. They've definitely been showing heelish tendencies as of late, and I feel like it only makes sense for Moxley and the whole gang to go heel here after this feud. And also Claudio and Wheeler Yuta have been at throats with the Dark Order with John Silver and Alex Reynolds. They've been at their throats and stuff. And so I think I could very well see that whole faction going heel. So we'll see what happens, as far as the turn goes with that. But yeah, as far as the winner for this matchup, Hangman goes over Jon Moxley, and will be an absolute barn burner of just a war between these two guys.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be great. We got the AEW. Excuse me. I hate sneezing. Thank you. We got the AEW Trios Tag Team Championships. The Elite versus the House of Black. Talked about it last night with Cam. The build for this match has been extremely bizarre. I'm going to give it to you first, Wes.
I will say though, as far as this match goes, this could very well be match of the night. These six guys are going to go in and deliver a freaking insane match. I know that's for sure. But yeah, it's been a bit weird. And obviously on Dynamite last night, we saw House of Black attack the Elite with the lights turned out, and they walked away with the championships. Now that did bother me because that worries me that on Sunday they're probably not going to win the titles, even though the House of Black should win the three titles because y'all AEW brought them back. Malachi took that hiatus for a little bit to get everything right with him, and I'm very happy to see him back in wrestling again. I'm very that. and hopefully he's still doing okay. So all my wishes to him. Yeah, I mean, you brought them back. They've been built up strong for ever since they have returned. They've been on another level of just rebuilding themselves and making look legit. And I feel like they're really the only legit faction you have right now to really give those trio styles to. And unless like we just talked about with the BCC going heel, maybe you could have the BCC win the trios titles in the near future. That's a possibility. But I really do feel like the House of Black should definitely win here because they need this. Because I feel like if they don't win this, then why'd you bring them back? Why did you bring them back if they're not going to hold any gold? Like their first shot at gold, when they come back, they lose. Like it would not make any sense. I mean, you're just, again, I mean, this faction's already, been hanging on by a thread, and you really need to pull the trigger with Buddy Matthews, Brody King, and Malachi Black. You got to pull the trigger on these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and say House of Black. I would not be surprised, though, if the Elite retained, just judging by what happened last night on Dynamite. I feel like that could very well happen. I'm a bit afraid. I will say this. I'm afraid. I love the Elite, but they don't need those titles. They don't need them. They are bulletproof. They don't need the titles. They are already legit enough as just a trio by themselves. So I'm going House of Black.
Cam?
Joseph, we spoke about this last night. Wesley, I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, but I honestly think it was a mistake to put this match on this pay-per-view this soon, and here's why. I don't think the House of Black should be losing at all, but I think it's too early for the Elite to drop the titles. You just did this best of 7 series in which the Elite came back, in which the Elite came back from 3-1. Had one of the greatest comeback, I have the greatest comeback outside of LeBron James in the finals that we've outside of LeBron James in the finals that we've ever seen. The man, they come back, from 3-1 lead, take the trios championships from the Lucha Bros, and now a month later, I think, 2 months later, they're just gonna drop the titles. I think it was a mistake to book this venture. I would have rather seen the Elite against Top Flight and J.R. Fox on this show. On this show here. I know that might not be a big enough match. I know that might not be a big enough match to put on, to put on pay-per-view. But against the Elite on pay-per-view, I would have much rather seen that. Or another thing I would have rather seen. I don't know what Will Ospreay's up to. I don't know his schedule. United Empire against the Elite on this show. I just think it was too early. I just think it was too early to book this match on this show. I would have waited until at least Double or Nothing. But the House of Black need to win this match. So I'm going with the House of Black. The House of Black gonna win this match here. Just go ahead and tear the house down. Just bring the house down that Malachi got. If he don't win, just go ahead and burn that house down. The house is gonna be burnt down to the ground. So the House of Black need to win this match here.
Yeah. So you're taking the House of Black too?
Yeah. I'm going with House of Black.
Oh man, this is probably the hardest match to call on this entire pay-per-view. This match right here. What should happen and what I would do is I would have the House of Black win this match. Have them be the trios tag titles, have the trios champions for however long. I'm putting the Young Bucks back in the tag team division because that division needs tag teams, and
Bucks back in that.
And I'm feuding Kenny Omega with Bryan Danielson going into Double or Nothing. That's what I think should happen. What is going to happen is the Elite are going to retain the tag team titles. And that's why I'm going to say the Elite are going to retain the Trios Tag Team Championships. I don't want it to happen because, listen, if they retain, that's going a step backwards for the House of Black, and that's not what we want. We don't know where they go if they lose to the Elite. And I can easily see with the Blackpool Combat Club going heel, I could see the Elite dropping the trios tag titles to the Blackpool Combat Club at Double or Nothing, but I really want the House of Black to win, and I want what I said should happen. I want that to happen. I think Bryan Danielson and Omega would be fantastic for Double or Nothing. The Young Bucks, they need tag teams right now. And the House of Black could be the trios champions. But because of that, it's not going to happen. I'm taking the Elite because they're just going to retain. And it sucks because I want the House of Black to win, but the Elite are going to retain the trios titles. So, and then the main event. The main event, a 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Championship. We got Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, defending against Bryan Danielson. And I will go first because I got a lot to say about this. Last night's promo between Bryan Danielson made me want Bryan Danielson to win this match. I want Bryan Danielson to kick MJF's fucking head in. And I do believe at some point in the match he's going to. I'm very interested and I'm intrigued as to how Tony Khan is going to book this match. How Tony Khan is going to keep people invested in this match for 60 minutes. It's going to be a challenge. And if he can pull it off, man, you got to give him his flowers. You got to give him his claps. The round of applause. If he's able to book a great 60-minute Iron Man match on pay-per-view, which is probably going to go on like past 11 o'clock where people are going to be tired. I would not have MJF take one fall in this match. I would have him cause a DQ on purpose, the ring, a steel chair, anything. MJF's not getting pinned. He's not tapping out. MJF cannot take a pinfall until he loses that world championship. And MJF is going to win this Iron Man match. MJF is going to out-wrestle Bryan Danielson, and I think Bryan Danielson is going to truly bring the best out of MJF. This has potential to be a really spectacular match between MJF and Bryan Danielson, which is memorable for 1 hour. But they got to book it well, and it's by far the biggest thing on the show and the reason why people are ordering the show. So I think it's going to be amazing. This is easily the match I'm looking forward to the most. And MJF retains. MJF will be a world champion coming out of San Francisco. Cam, who do you have and why?
Well, Jacob Friedman is walking into Revolution as the AEW champion. He is walking out of Revolution as the AEW champion. This is the easiest match on the show to predict. MJF is winning the title. Question is, how many falls do they do? Question is, what's the final score? The question is, what's the final score? I like my Iron Man match. I like my Iron Man matches, to be semi-competitive, with the final score. It's like 3-4, something like that. That's how I like my Iron Man. That's how I like my Iron Man matches here. And I think MJF's gonna take a fall. I think MJF is gonna take a fall, whether he gets himself additionally DQ'd, something. I think MJF is getting a fall here in this match. And I think the finish is gonna come. Well, MJF is gonna be ahead of Bryan. Let's say MJF is up 2-1 on Bryan. Because I can see that being the score 2-1. Bryan Danielson is trying to tie the score up. He's trying to make a comeback. I can see Danielson getting the lapel lock on MJF, and MJF holds on to the time, and MJF holds on right as the clock expires. Now let's say Danielson gets MJF in the lapel lock, like 45 seconds left to go. I can see MJF holding on. I just see MJF holding on for 45 seconds before he leaves the ring. Essentially the Brock Kurt Angle Iron Man finish from SmackDown from SmackDown. I think it was back in 2003, where where it was like 3-2. Where it's like 3-2. Kurt Angle had Brock Lesnar in the ankle lock, and and Brock was and Kurt Angle lost because Brock was able to outbeat the time, because Brock was able to outbeat the time, even though Kurt had Brock in the ankle lock. So I think that's the same finish we're getting here. But MJF is retaining the AEW Championship here, and this is probably going to be the best match of MJF's career, which is going to be a high mark to stand because he's at 2. Which is probably going to be a high point to stand because, I think the 2 best matches of his career come from Darby Allin at Full Gear a couple years ago and come from CM Punk last year. I think this is going to top the Punk match. I think Danielson is top 3 in terms of wrestlers in the world right now. And I think Danielson is going to be able to pull out the best match MJF has ever had with MJF.
Wes?
I'm with both of you guys. Bryan Danielson will definitely bring the best out of Maxwell Jacob Friedman this Sunday Night Revolution, but MJF in the end will retain the AEW World Championship and will be an absolute barn burner of a 60-man and Iron Man match. I'm very much looking forward to it. I absolutely love the build up to this match for all these weeks. They've been building it up, and the matches that the banger matches that Danielson has had on Dynamite with the likes of Takeshita and Roosh and Bandito, man. Absolute wonderful matches there. And I think this Sunday, man, we're going to see the best MJF match to date when he goes toe-to-toe with Bryan Danielson in a 60-minute Iron Man match. But in the end, though, MJF will hold on. I think I definitely could see it ending with Danielson locking in the LaBelle lock on MJF and MJF just barely surviving. And he will retain the AEW World Championship and continue his reign of terror over AEW as the world champion.
I can't wait, man. AEW Revolution goes down Sunday from San Francisco, California at the Chase Center. You can order it live on pay-per-view. I know right after this, and is uploaded on YouTube, I'm ordering the pay-per-view on BR Live because I'm not wasting any much time. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the preview prediction show. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. We're 3 subs away for 500, man. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. I want to know all of your predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view. Leave it in the comments below. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from all 3 of us. You can follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Conlon_Joseph. Wes, where can they follow you, my friend?
You already know. Follow me over on Instagram at the Real Wesley Snipes. You can also follow me over on TikTok with the same exact username. Again, that is at the Real Wesley Snipes. I'm starting to do more top 5 videos on TikTok, trying to get into. I did top 5 rock bands TikTok, and I did a top 5. Ooh. I did a fantasy, making an 82-0 NBA starting lineup. So I'm starting to kind of dip in more in the sports TikTok world and trying to get something going there. So I might be like dipping more into like NFL, MLB, all the sports that I tune into. So stay tuned for that. But you got to follow me over on TikTok first. Make sure you follow me. Again, that is at the Real Wesley Snipes. So stay tuned.
I gotta know, who's your favorite band?
Favorite band of all time is My Chemical Romance. That's my favorite band of all time.
Okay, I love AC/DC. Yeah, I've played their songs all the time on the drums. And for some reason, I get made fun of it. I'm like, why? AC/DC is such an incredible band, dude. They're amazing. But Cam, where can they follow you, man?
First off, I just want to say, Wes, that's a very good pick right there. That is a very good pick right there. You got good taste. You got some really good taste. But follow me on Twitter at Cam71101, and yeah.
That's all, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will let you all know on Twitter if I'm going to be live streaming. Watch along for Revolution. I don't know. 4 hours is extremely long, but if not, we will be back here for a review right after the show. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe, and as always, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace.